Imagine packing up your life and leaving behind all you hold dear to move to the other side of the world. Could you make that heart-wrenching decision? In 2009, that's what lay ahead for the Boyd family when we gave them the opportunity to sample life in Australia. Today, we're paying them a visit to discover what decision they made. Did they stay in the UK or did they move down under? The Boyd family from Ayrshire had been agonising over a move to Australia for many years.
A lot of people just think, oh, it's simple, just pack up and just move off somewhere nicer than where you live, but it's not that easy.
They'd struggled to find the property of their dreams.
I've got an image in my head of what I'm looking for, and this just isn't it.
And Naomi had got very upset at the thought of leaving loved ones she may never see again.
It hits me the most about my nana, to be honest with you, because, as I say, I don't think I'll see her, so sorry, I keep crying.
It was a massive decision that left the family divided.
This scares me because I've instigated it and I've built everybody's hopes up and I might shatter the lot.
But what did they decide and where are they now? In 2009, the Boyds from Ayrshire were faced with a life-changing decision, whether to stay in Scotland or to move halfway around the world. We gave them 1 week to experience every aspect of life in Australia. But what happened next? James and Naomi Boyd and sons Kieran and Dylan lived in Ayrshire. They'd spent many years considering a move to Australia.
Actually, initially my idea, like I say, I'm the one that's always kind of fancy doing a shift abroad.
It took James 10 years to persuade me to actually want to go, but since last year I've really pushed for it now, and it's me who's leading force, really.
Their neighbourhood in Stevenson had undergone some changes over the last few years, and that worried Naomi.
The area that we live in used to be a really good area. It did. It was a fantastic place. Over, though, I'd say the past 10 to 15 years, it has just declined. Now it's a knife culture and a drug culture. There's nowhere really you can take the kids which is safe anymore. My fear is staying here, my kids are eventually going to become either a victim of it or one of them, and I don't want my kids to become another statistic, so I don't want to be here to let that happen.
Although desperate to go, the Boyds were torn by the idea of leaving loved ones behind.
The biggest person who I'm going to miss is definitely going to be my nana. She raised me up until my dad remarried. She's in her 80s now, and if we go to Australia, I probably won't get to see her again because she would never be able to make that flight. She wouldn't be able to do the journey, and I don't know when we would first be able to get back here. And if something happened to her, then I'm the other side of the world. That's hard.
Just, I wonder, like I say, I've got my doubts kicking in, but I'm just wondering if I've done the right thing by trying to talk Naomi into this, because I see how upset she gets, and obviously this upsets me. It's my wife. So on top of my own stuff, there's this.
Already torn between staying or going, the week in Oz looking for their new life would push them to their limits. To help James, Naomi and the boys consider the huge risk they'd be taking, we sent them to Darwin in the Northern Territory, where they had the opportunity to sample the lifestyle for just 1 week. The 24-hour flight was a mammoth trip. Having landed in Darwin in the early hours with 2 small children, the long journey had Naomi and James worried.
That was an experience and a half. I was just saying to Naomi that would take something if we were going to be making visits back and forward every year to the UK. That would take its toll, that would.
Making their way to their rented accommodation, the Boyds desperately needed something to cheer them up. Luckily, the flat lived up to their expectations of life in Australia.
Have a wee look. Oh, this is nice.
Wow,
It's huge, isn't it?
It's not half.
Look at the TV.
It was a TV that caught my imagination as well. Oh, I could see me quite happy here, eh? Right here. Beer in hand. I didn't expect this.
In the UK, James and Naomi live in Stevenson near Glasgow. They bought their house in 2006 for just under £100,000, but they knew their finances would be stretched for them to afford their dream home in Australia.
I don't know if we're living in Cloud Cuckoo Land just now, but we'll be looking at a nice big house.
I want a 4-bedroom detached house with 2 bathrooms. I'd like a driveway, preferably a garage and a swimming pool at the back door. I don't ask for much.
With the Boyds expecting to have a budget of around £115,000, we showed them 3 very different properties to give them an idea of what Darwin had to offer. Property 1 was a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom semi-detached in the suburb of Brinkin. Despite being within their expected budget at around £185,000 in 2009, James and Naomi weren't convinced this was worth leaving the UK for.
It's the open plan what I wanted. I think I kind of envisioned just a slightly bigger.
This is a fair old size of a bedroom.
Do you think?
I do, huh?
It's a good size room for one for one child, but no for 2 children.
That's over the master bedroom then,
Bedroom.
It is smaller than what we've got back home, but...
I'd want another bedroom. No, actually, I'd want another 2 bedrooms. It's
That's
no
just
for us.
not
Definitely
going to be for us.
No. I'd like a wee bit bigger. God, I'm just for saying I want this, I want that. I'm sounding so demanding.
You want it a bit bigger?
You're having to come out the bedroom basically to get out into the back door. That means as well, if you had people over for a barbecue, you'd overtraipse into the bedroom.
Well, there is
Which
that.
I don't like the idea of that.
I imagined all the Australian houses to be really big, and it's a bit of a shock that it is this small. I say it's nice, but a lot smaller than I imagined it would be.
Yeah, I think I've got an image in my head of what I'm looking for, and this just isn't it.
So far, they were disappointed with just how little their money would buy. Would property 2 be more up their street? This 3-bedroom house in nearby Durrock was larger and a bit more expensive at £200,000. This certainly had them both excited about their future in Australia.
Do you like this, Kieran?
Yeah.
This is
It's
nice,
really,
isn't
really
it?
nice, isn't it?
Go, go, go.
Right, we'll take a wee down around here, Kieran.
It's got everything you need, and there's the double wardrobe as well.
This is
Nice.
This is
Nice.
exactly what I've been talking about. I like this.
It's
lovely,
This is
isn't
a
it?
garden, isn't it?
Oh, James, look.
This is just an added bonus.
I
Look
could
at
move
that.
in here, no bother.
Look.
It's perfect.
There's a big barbecuing space over there as well, and again...
In this barbecue. Oh.
Well, this is part of it.
I could picture us here. I could picture us quite happily being here.
Although I really want to do this, it's going to take a special house to kind of tempt me, I think, and I think...
That's what I've said. I think there's no point in doing it if we're not going to get the full package. The house has got to be an important part of it, and this...
It's just that the whole area just looks so safe and secure and, like you say, peaceful, quiet.
With both James and Naomi won over by the property, it seemed the boys were well on their way to finding their dream home. Property 3 in upmarket Palmerston was a glamorous but unusual 4-bed house on stilts, with most of the rooms upstairs. At around £270,000 in 2009, it was outside their budget. They would both have to work full-time to be able to aspire to this dream property.
What do you think?
Is it this boy? Wow.
That's gorgeous, isn't it?
I could see myself living here.
No bother. This is the kind of size I was hoping for, definitely.
Huge.
It's a nice big room as well, isn't it? Could fit your
think this
double
would
bed
be,
in
yeah.
here, no bother.
It's another great big bedroom, isn't it?
They're all good sized rooms, aren't they?
Yeah.
They were both impressed at first, but it turned out this was only one person's idea of a dream house.
I didn't want a house which was up in the air, so to speak, or in a kind of upstairs, downstairs house. For me, what I'm really looking for is a all-in-one floor, like a bungalow type house. It's not the image I've had of my dream house. It's not. I know, I'm just really too fussy.
This is what I sort of imagined an Aussie style house to be. Aye, this is my kind of house. Look at the size of that pool. Come on, this is something you says that you really, really wanted, was a great big pool. I mean, look at that, boy. That not be good?
Aye, that would be good.
Oh, come on.
Oh, it's sold to you then, I take it. It's absolutely stunning, it is. It's just not my kind of house at all. I don't like the fact that it's up on stilts. I want everything to be down on the ground. I want the kids to be able to come out and play and I can supervise them, whereas I don't feel if I was upstairs I wouldn't be able to supervise them down here. And the pool's not blocked off from the grass, so the kids couldn't be out here playing on their own.
I mean, this house would be absolutely ideal for me. This has got everything in it that I could ever want. It's a nice, big, modern house. Who's not going to want a swimming pool like this and a working bar right next to it? I mean, this is just everything I imagined in a house.
James was truly struck by the third house, but Naomi was far from convinced, leaving her in complete turmoil over the move.
I don't want to move over here and have something I'm not going to be completely happy with. If you're going to move to the opposite side of the world, no point in doing it all by half. I don't see the point in coming over here if we're not going to be able to get that dream life. And the dream house has got to be part of that, so very important.
The Boyds had seen 3 very different houses that had split the family about where they would want to live. The first property was a massive disappointment. The second was a bit pricey but ticked all the boxes. And though the third property was James's dream house, Naomi wasn't convinced. Would the vote for property in the UK versus property in Australia leave them divided or united?
Based on what we've seen today, our vote goes to Australia.
UK.
Australia.
So, UK? Really?
None of them have been outstanding in my eyes. Number 2 would probably be the best house. It was great, but it was still only 3 bedrooms. So I don't see the point in coming away over here just to have exactly what we've got back home.
I think, to be honest, the last one, it was just amazing. We're never going to get a pool at our back door in the UK, and
No, I know, but
we're never going to have an opportunity like that.
The Boyds had very different ideas of a dream house, and as the week passed, the reality of living down under drove them even further apart.
I think he's going to find it a lot harder than he thinks he is. He puts on this brave face and says, no, he'll be fine, he'll be okay once we get out there, this is what he really wants. But I do think he's going to struggle with it, and I think possibly he's going to find it the hardest out of us all.
Back in Scotland, Naomi worked as a mental health nurse. As the main income earner, she was anxious about her career prospects in Australia.
There is a lot of opportunities for mental health nurses, particularly in some of their state hospitals, but they have. One of my biggest fears, though, is over there they have completely different legislation. They've got a different style of nursing over there, so it's quite scary to think I'm going to be like starting from fresh.
Keen to allay fears about starting her career in Australia, Naomi had arranged some work experience in Darwin's main mental health unit.
I just want a job that is going to challenge me. I want something that's going to keep me on my toes, which is going to allow me to learn every single day. So I'm really quite apprehensive about going in and starting a new job, because it's going to just be like I'm a newly qualified nurse again, starting all from scratch.
Good morning, Naomi.
Hi there, Steve.
Why don't you come through and I'll show you around?
That's great. Yeah, I think so.
Absolutely. So just come through here and I'll show you some of the more common medications that we use. Probably familiar with this particular medication.
Yeah, we've got a couple of people on that.
Yeah, it's used all around the world. It's one of the newer atypical antipsychotic medications. You'll be very familiar with them when you come out to work here in Australia.
Yeah, well, that makes it a wee bit easier, I suppose.
It does.
As the main child carer, James's concern was to make sure the children settled quickly so he could start work in Australia.
Once we've found somewhere to live, I would like to spend a wee bit of time getting our house sorted out, spend a bit of time with the kids and make sure that we get them settled before I start looking properly into my career again, I think.
The local playgroup gave him a chance to see what was available for the children.
Yeah, nice to meet you. I'm James.
I'm Marie, James.
Very nice to meet you. Yeah, good, thanks, good. Is it quite often that everyone meets up like this, or...?
We have the playgroup every week, every Friday afternoon. So there's playgroups that run all week, any time of the day, whether morning or afternoon.
Right, OK.
But I'll introduce you to a couple of the girls.
Fantastic, thank you.
Bridget, sorry, I'd like to introduce...
Hiya.
There you go.
How you doing? Nice to meet you, I'm James. Hiya.
With Kieran and Dylan quickly finding their feet, James was relieved that being a house hubby might not be such a lonely job.
Exactly the same as where I'm at. I'm a stay-at-home dad. My girlfriend's a full-time nurse. So it's exactly the same. I only work once or twice a week on sunset cruise boats.
A situation like that is absolutely ideal. Everyone there was really, really chatty and really friendly and helpful. Just great.
Naomi had to tackle the thorny subject of pay. With James worried about their money situation, it was crucial that her job paid enough to cover the bills. Otherwise, the dream was over.
So, Steve, can you tell me a little bit about the pay which you get over here in Australia for nurses?
Because nurses are very much in demand in Australia, the pay is pretty reasonable. Depending on your experience, you can earn anywhere between $60,000 a year up to $100,000 to $120,000 a year for the more senior nursing positions in administration and management.
With a salary of between £30,000 and £60,000 and plenty of job opportunities, it looked promising for Naomi. So how did she vote on job prospects? Would she carry on nursing in the UK or down under in Australia?
Based on the work experience today and meeting Steve and everybody else at the centre, my vote goes to Australia.
Although Naomi was being won over by Australia, James was having huge doubts that would put the whole move at risk.
James has been quite having a difficult time with it, really, to be honest with you. He was the one who obviously initiated this all them years ago, but it's me who's more been pushing lately for us to get over here. Now he's here, I think he's kind of stuck between being really excited and thinking, yeah, this could be a reality, but then every so often he thinks, oh, do you know what about this and what about that? And it's normally me who's got the sensible head, but at the moment it's him who's taken over that. I think it's a bit of a struggle for him at the moment. If James changes his mind and says no, he doesn't want to, then I really, honest to God, don't know where that would leave us. I don't.
In the UK, the Boyds own a 3-bedroom house on the coast near Glasgow. It had been on the market for £115,000 for quite some time, but it hadn't sold. In 2009, we sent 2 estate agents round to find out its value. The Boyds knew what they were about to watch was crucial to realising their Australian dream.
Looks dead dreary.
Good sized lounge. Front and rear facing, that's good. Plenty of light.
It has everything that a family needs. Don't open the cupboard.
Oh gosh, yeah, it's getting in the cupboard.
Good sized double bedroom. Good sized second bedroom. Bathroom's okay size. Not too bad.
What do you mean
Slightly
okay?
dated. I think the property's well proportioned. It's in good condition, good selling order. The only problem I would say would be that there are quite a few similar properties on the marketplace just now. 85 should be a quick sale price. 90, I think it stands a good chance to achieve that price.
If we're looking to move this one on very quickly, then 85,000 would be a very realistic price.
No. You wouldn't have said that a year ago.
A year ago, our property would have sold for £115,000.
So.
And fair dues, it is recession and.
But £30,000 a drop,
Yeah.
not a chance.
No. We bought it for more than that, so we're going to lose on it as it is. So
we're already losing all our equity.
After the crushing news that their house was worth less than they'd thought, they had to do some serious sums to see if this move to Australia was even possible.
We can work out and see if it's feasible just on your wage.
just on my wage at the moment, and then we can add in yours to see.
If we need that at the end.
See, I've got something in my head that's around about 200.
No.
Maybe just. See,
no.
I don't know.
This is working out.
That's expensive.
Almost twice as much as we pay back
That's expensive as well, because look, your insurance. So we're £650 a month at the moment for our mortgage back home, so that would be looking at £1,000 a month for our mortgage.
So we're £350 worse off then.
Yeah, which isn't great, but there you go.
It's not that, it's something that we've never really thought much into.
That's a lot of tax to pay.
It's a lot of tax, £10,000 a year.
Which means my money is going to be less than I initially thought.
No, so it's double, it is double it here.
It'll be double what I'm paying at the moment.
And that's before private medical. I'm going to be wanting to do this for a wee while until we're settled. I want to get back to work full time.
See, I don't want you to.
I think I would eventually go mad if I was a stay-at-home dad constant. I think I would need to work. I'm just shocked. I honestly didn't expect this.
To me, it's a risk worth taking if at the end of the day we get to live over here.
Naomi and James were really hit hard by the true costs of living down under. It looked as if the move would be too much of a financial strain. With so much uncertainty, how did they vote?
So after looking at the facts and figures and the cost of things in Australia and the cost of living, our vote is
UK.
Australia. Can you say that?
And on top of their financial worries about moving to Australia, Naomi's plans to be the main breadwinner had them at loggerheads with each other.
Naomi, to be honest, has this grand plan that I'm going to be a permanent live-at-home husband if we can get away with it financially, and it's just not going to happen.
I don't see any point in making a big, huge change, coming halfway across the world basically to just have the same life where me and James are working opposite shifts. We don't see the kids away a childminder. I don't want to do that.
Naomi would love that. She would love me to be there to constantly see to the kids and have the meals ready, and she knows that I'm a clean freak, so she knows the house would always be sitting spotless, but it's just not going to happen that way at all. It couldn't happen that way.
It is going to be hard for him, and I've said this to him umpteen times now. I think he's going to find it a lot harder than he thinks he is. He puts on this brave face and says, you know, no, he'll be fine, he'll be okay. Once we get out there, this is what he really wants. But I do think he's going to struggle with it, and I think possibly he's going to find it the hardest out of us all.
I didn't do a great deal of sleeping last night for worrying about this, because I've only told Naomi so far I'm upset at things being a lot more expensive than I thought they were initially. She doesn't know I'm having major doubts yet. She knows I'm on the fence, but I don't think she realises how much this has really shocked me. This scares me, because I've instigated it and I've built everybody's hopes up, and I might shatter the lot.
In 2009, ahead of making their final decision, we showed the Boyds some heartfelt messages from their loved ones back home.
Hi Naomi. Hi James.
Hello, Naomi and James. James is a great boy. We've never had a minute's worry with him.
He's a brilliant father. Family orientated too.
Mm-hmm. Very cheeky, very really sarcastic humour, but just so endearing that you can't help but like her.
I think I'll really miss her if she's not here when I have my baby.
I don't want to start crying. Well, when she said it would be a better life, I was agreeable with that. I think it's the right thing to do. Clive said to me, well, you have to save your money, we'll go and see her. But I don't know whether I'll be able to or not. I've got very mixed emotions, to be honest. On the one hand, I think it'll be a great new life for them, and I'd never do anything to hold them back. But at the same time, I know I'm going to miss them.
Part of me wants to say yes, the other part no, because we'll miss them. Sorry.
Yeah.
But for them, I think it's the right thing.
Remember, we're always here for you. But whatever you decide, it's down to you, so put that flag whatever way you want it to go.
I do miss you. I've thought about this one for a long time. I've sat everywhere thinking about this. I'm missing you big time. Kieran and Dylan.
I hope you like Australia, and if you do, I wouldn't be happy to lose you, but I'll be glad if it's going to be a different life for you. So, I'll miss you, but you keep in touch now.
Don't cry, darling.
You know that we're going to miss you all, but we wish you all the best. And we know whatever decision you make is going to be the right one for you. We love you all.
Is that hard?
My mum and my dad are usually a bit of a closed book, and to see them upset like that, it's not something I'll see often. I don't think seeing people upset would stop me going, because I think in their heart of hearts they would want us to come here.
I don't want any of them getting upset over this. I suppose it's unavoidable. It hits me the most about my nana, to be honest with you, because, as I say, I don't think I'll see her, so I'm sorry, I keep crying.
He's upset.
After a week of so many challenges, the Boyds still had a lot of problems to overcome. Each one had different ideas of where they would like to live. Their financial plans looked to be in trouble, and job prospects had them arguing over their future.
James has been so hard to read. I thought I knew what was going on in his head. Obviously, I've not got a clue. I really couldn't say which way he's going to vote at the moment.
The place hasn't failed to disappoint. It's gorgeous. The life outside our working commitments looks absolutely fantastic, and everything that I could have imagined for myself and my family, it just looks terrific.
It's the hardest decision we've ever had to make in our lives, it is. We're talking about uprooting the kids away from their families, from their friends, from their school, from everything they know. This is such a hard decision.
I won't get to see my friends ever again, but I'll make new friends for sure.
It was time for the final vote, and the family was in turmoil about making the move. Their entire future hung on this decision. So which way did they vote? Stay in the UK or relocate to the other side of the world?
Well, we've been in Australia for a week now. We've got to experience the lifestyle, jobs, houses and everything. So based on that, our vote goes to Australia.
Australia.
UK.
I think we should start a We Hate Daddy club, would you think?
Yeah, maybe we should.
I didn't know how to say to you that this is what I was kind of leaning towards now, but I
So
think...
what's your reasons for it?
I really don't know we could come here and comfortably live.
I just think we've came this far. We'd be absolutely stupid and we'd always regret it if we didn't try it.
I just don't know that at this exact time we could afford to come here.
I'm definitely not staying where I live at all, so either way we will be moving away from there.
The whole move had been driven by James after he convinced Naomi their future was in Australia. However, the week down under had made him completely change his mind. But with Naomi won over by Australia, it created a lot of tension between them.
I'm sure Naomi's going to mind me telling you this, and she doesn't know that I'm about it, but that wasn't the most comfortable car journey back there since I made my decision.
I've got to say, in my defence though, for 10 years you kept saying to me, let's move abroad, let's move abroad, let's move abroad. When I eventually decided to say, oh okay, we'll give it a shot, then you change your mind and say, do you know, actually, no, there's just no bother moving abroad. So I think I'm entitled to be a little bit peeved about that.
To me, just the way I've been feeling the last couple of days, I thought it was fairly obvious this was how I would probably vote.
I suppose at least you can still shock me. I suppose that's one good thing.
A lot of people just think, oh, it's simple, just pack up and just move off somewhere nicer than where you live, but it's not that easy. There's a lot of things to take into account, so this is a kind of scenario I was hoping to avoid.
In 2009, the Boyds were split between whether they should stay in the UK or move to Australia. Naomi had good job prospects and had fallen for the lifestyle. James, despite having driven the move, had serious doubts. So where in the world are they? 3 months later, they were still in Scotland. And the decision to stay in the UK had put a lot of strain on their relationship.
When we came back from Australia, obviously James had decided to vote for the UK, and myself and Kieran had said about going to Australia. So it did cause a bit of tension because I was quite annoyed with the fact that James had even got us going over there, getting to see if that was really, you know, the life what we wanted to lead, getting us all excited about it, and then to turn around and say, well, actually, no, he doesn't want to go. So that did, I was annoyed about it. When we got back, we had to kind of sit down and see if we even still wanted the same things. You think, you know, somebody you've been together for 10 years and then suddenly...
When we made our final vote in Australia, I chose the UK at the time because I just felt far more comfortable in knowing how everything works here. So I suddenly realised how big this move was, and, you know, what effect this could have on all of our lives, and also all the family and friends, and there was a lot of things that just sort of really worried me, and it took me right out of my comfort zone. So
I didn't want to go over there and to be half-hearted and go over it. And, you know, if you're going to make this a big, huge decision to move to the other side of the world, what's the point in doing it if you're not going to be fully happy? There's no point in uprooting the kids from everything they know.
Especially not if we're going to be moving to the other side of the world. We want to be 100% sure.
Although they had been divided about moving to Australia, the Boyds were still determined to move out of the area and had kept their house on the market.
In Australia, we watched the estate agent's valuation DVD, and they did say if we wanted a quick sale, we need to drop the price to $85,000, which I remember being rather miffed about.
I think I was upset, you know, when I heard them saying, you know, this is all my house was worth, you know. But as it turns out, they were right. In this current climate, that is all it's worth.
I feel a bit of an idiot now because we sold it for $85,000 just 2 months later.
And once they sold their house, James had another change of heart.
At the moment, we're still here in sunny Scotland, and After like a few months of sort of talking about things and our house finally selling, we've decided that we're going to make the leap and we're going to move to Perth in Western Australia. I think after talking about it all and everything, we decided we're going to make a new life wherever we go, so it's going to be a big leap, so you know, why not just go for it right enough?
Once we decided where we wanted to go, I'd got in touch with some recruitment consultants and I got offered a job over at a psychiatric hospital in Perth. So they have agreed to sponsor me on a 4-year temporary business class visa.
I've had to rush lots and lots just into a really short space of time, into about 2 months, so it's been hard going.
We've just had to keep kind of pushing through it and trying to get it all sorted out.
At last, it seemed the boys' dream to move to Australia was going to happen. However, at the last minute, they were hit by some terrible news.
Everything was going fine until a week and a half ago. We were all happy as Larry, quite content living in our little bubble. Yeah, we'll be emigrating in 8 weeks' time. And now suddenly, within a week and a half, everything has just went completely upside down, and you don't realise just how quickly it can all go wrong.
I'm currently waiting at the moment for a hospital procedure and possibly an operation, and if this basically happens, I'm looking at sort of going out to Australia in about 4 to 6 months' time, and we do need Naomi to go over and start a job before the offer gets taken off her.
At the moment, we're now left with the decision, if the possibility occurs where James does need surgery, we might not be able to go over there as a family. And if we don't go over as a family, then I've either got to go on ahead on my own, or I have to sacrifice the job and our possible only route to get into Australia unless we apply for a permanent visa. But that's years down the line, and I don't think we could wait that long. If I want this job offer, which I really do, I'm going to need to go ahead. But I don't know if I can really do that, because, I mean, realistically, what mother would leave her children? And I couldn't leave my husband knowing he's got to undergo surgery. So it's a bit of a predicament at the moment, and I don't even know what's going to happen.
I think that Naomi is going to have to go on ahead to Australia, and, you know, it's something obviously I don't want to happen, and it's something she doesn't want to happen, and I don't think up until just quite recently she realised that this was very real.
The Boyds were up for moving to Australia, but would Naomi have to take the long flight to Perth on her own and leave James and the children to come later after his surgery? In the end, the Boyds managed to make the journey in January 2010, all together as a family.
It's not been an easy journey to get here, but we're here now, so we'll see how it all goes. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll be absolutely perfect, but ask me in a few weeks.
We're all very, very tired and ready to go to bed, I think.
Absolutely shattered. Really am tired.
Like many people who emigrate to Australia, the Boyds had decided to initially rent somewhere before buying a house. As they arrived at their temporary home in the centre of Perth, they were relieved to be starting their new life in Australia together, with James's health scare behind them.
Everything for a few weeks, it was horrible. We didn't know what we were doing. It was absolutely horrendous. But luckily we pestered the hospital enough that they gave us a cancellation, and James had a procedure done, and they decided what surgery is not required at the moment. They can manage it with medication and see how he goes for the next kind of 12 months. So we just decided, right, book the flights, that's it. Don't chance it anymore, just get the flights booked and just get over there.
I'm still unsure about it all at the moment. I've been chopping and changing my mind over the last fortnight. One day I'm wanting to come and the next day no. The thing is, I've not been happy with the sort of life I've had back home, and that was why I instigated doing this. But the closer and closer this has got, now that I realise that we're leaving behind friends and family that we've had round about us our whole life, it started to really kick in, and I've had big doubts with it. But here we are, because I did instigate it. I did vote to remain in the UK, but I'm not that selfish that I would hold everybody else back. I'm willing to give it a go, and the plan is we'll give it a couple of years, and, you know, fingers crossed all's going to go well and we'll stay here. But if it doesn't, then we'll go back to what we know in the UK.
We caught up with the Boyds 5 months later, after they'd had a chance to settle in. For Naomi, the entire move had hinged on her being happy with her job. Fortunately, it seems she's really got her teeth into it.
Hi there, how are you? Is it okay to come through and get the file? Thanks very much. Over here, the ward what I'm in, it is just purely nursing staff, and it's acute adult mental health problems. So we have a range of people between the ages of 18 right up to about 65 years old. Some people can be with us just a matter of days, other people can be a number of weeks. So you have a constant turnaround of patients, which means you've got constant different challenges coming into the ward. To me, coming here and actually coming into a job which I'm really enjoying, working with people which I enjoy actually coming into work with, has been great, and it's helped me to settle so much better because I know this is a piece of security for me. This has helped me so much with just, having a job I enjoy.
And while Naomi's bringing home the bacon and Kieran is at school, James is looking after Dylan. A far cry from their old pad in Scotland, the new rental house has brought a smile to James's face.
We really fancied somewhere nice and spacious, and we knew within seconds of looking at it, just with the size of the houses here and the size of the gardens, it was just everything that we'd imagined. I know most of the houses here are a lot bigger typically than what you would find back in the UK, but this house itself, just the whole look and the feel to it. I love the setup in this house. I love having the bedroom through one side and having the lounge and the games room. This means it's a living room stroke dining area, kitchen, and again, all of these rooms were totally separate in our old house, and I mean, the space is just absolutely massive. I mean, we've got acres of space to play with, something we've never had or never been used to before, but we've got a pantry for all our food now, so instead of having cupboards crammed together all over our walls, we get to just put everything in here, and it keeps the kitchen nice and free to walk around, and we love it.
James had hoped to quickly find a job and get his career back on track. However, as a house husband, he's not enjoying his life down under.
It's not been great for James. He's struggled a lot with it. He's not working, and because of our kind of shift work, what I do, it's meant we have struggled to find childcare. So that has caused, it's caused a lot of tension, I think, and it's made his transition here to Australia a lot more difficult for him. It did kind of come to a head, and we felt the best thing might have been, just for the 2 years to separate, because we were just arguing. And that's not what we came here for.
It just got too much, and we were arguing quite a lot, and we didn't want the boys to see that, so we decided to call it a day, but we have decided to get back together and give it another try now. So I had this idea that we were going to move out here and that everything was just going to fall into place, we would both get jobs. Well, obviously nobody comes straight to a job, but I thought that I would come straight into a job and we would all settle really well and it would be plain sailing, but it's been totally different from what I had imagined. I mean, I've got here and I'm finding it a lot harder than I had expected to settle. While she's out doing the job, I'm dealing with everything in the house. And then once Naomi comes home, typically I'll maybe go out down to the shops, do a bit of shopping, come back up and basically just get ready to do it all again the next day. Basically with me being sort of in at home all the time, I'm really not getting out to meet people and have a bit of a social life, and I really feel quite isolated.
I feel guilty a lot of the time because he's not settling, he's stuck in the house with the kids, and it's been difficult, it has been.
I've kind of agreed that, the situation is what it is, and rather than getting all worked up about it, I'm just going to let things flow and we'll see what happens. I'm not going to get too stressed. I mean, we don't need me to go out and get a job for the money. It would just be nice to have that wee bit extra play money, and it'd be nice to go out and meet friends.
Although James and Naomi are divided on how they feel about Australia, the kids are definitely happy with their new life.
The boys are settling in really, really well here. Kieran especially, he's well and making a lot of friends, and he's having a ball here.
It's a better life because I get to go out with my friends. Back in Scotland, I never got to go out and play with my friends because it was always raining.
I always said that was my biggest reason for wanting to move abroad anyway, was for the kids to give them a better life and things. And seeing them happy, that it does make me happy. Whenever I'm feeling, I've had a bad day at work and things, and I come in and the two of them just run and they give you cuddles, and it just makes everything worthwhile. It does, definitely.
The Boyds do have a webcam to keep in touch with family and friends, but they're still struggling with being so far away from loved ones.
It's hard to take sometimes because we've moved out here to try and better our lives, and in the same token, a lot of people back home just getting on with things as normal, but they're really upset because we're not there anymore. And the thing is, we were a really, really close family when we lived there, and we all lived within a really short distance of one another, so we done a lot of things together. I remember just breaking down in tears because I thought, you know, I can't just get in touch when I want to anymore, and that's something I was always used to. So I say it doesn't get easier, I'm just kind of getting a bit more used to it now.
And Naomi has found it particularly difficult leaving her grandmother behind.
All of my best memories from when I was a child, my nana's in. You know, there's not anything that she wasn't there for, and supported me through so much, and she still does. Every decision I make, she's always somebody I'll ask her their opinion, and she always supports me no matter what. So yeah, I miss her a lot, I really do.
It's been a turbulent move for all of them, but Naomi and the children have settled quickly, ready to make Australia their home.
Part of me wants to make it work so much out here. Already I can't see myself going back to the UK. Aside of our problems, put that all to one side and forget about that for a minute. Everything else it's brilliant. It is. The kids are happy. James is mainly happy. I'm happy. So, I mean, it does. It's a totally different life to what we had back in Scotland, and I don't want to go back to that. But at the end of the day, if James decides what he wants to go back, then I can't exactly turn around and say, well, no, I'm not going.
James has struggled with his new life, even though he was the one who originally wanted to move to Australia. Now feeling unhappy, is he about to give up his dream again?
Well, the grand plan is that I'm going to muck in at this for at least another few months, and I'm just going to have to try and find a job that's going to give me relief hours to work around the childcare, because we've been really struggling. The thing is, we've got a lease on a house for another few months yet, so I really want to give it a good bash and see how we go. But if it doesn't work out and it's not working out in another few months, I think realistically I'm going to have to start speaking to the family about maybe packing up and moving back the way again. But as I say, that's worst case scenario, and I'd rather that didn't happen. But I've got to be realistic, you know. If I'm not settling and I'm still as miserable, then I just don't see the point in being here. We came for a better life. So
Since they moved to Australia, Naomi and the boys have really thrown themselves into their new life. However, James has had major doubts. It's time for them to make their final vote. Will the boys choose to stay or pack their bags and head back to Scotland?
We've been living in Perth, Western Australia for a short time now, and while we've been here, there's been a fair share of ups and downs.
Despite our ups and downs, we're going to make a decision and vote for where we see ourselves being in the immediate future, whether it's here in Perth or going back to sunny Scotland. And our decision is?
Australia.
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 Well, James and Naomi have made the hardest decision of their lives. And although it's still early days, they're well on their way to making a new and improved life in Australia for themselves and their boys. Join us again when we catch up with another family on Wanted Down Under Revisited.
Well, from one extreme to the other, meet those who survive in the punishing cold of the Arctic. Human Planet returns tonight at 8. Next, an unusual property for just £12,000. It's Homes Under the Hammer.